All right, what's up, everybody? This is Mr. Cox here with the Occupied Podcast, and we're going to be going over Khanna's amendment that got shot down to remove Section 224 of the Defense Authorization Act, National Defense Authorization Act, that basically takes the Israeli military and tech companies, anything military industrial complex, the military, everything, fuses them together in a finger cuff of unstickable fuckery. So listen to all these bought out, traitors here. Khanna, this is the guy who introduced the bill to strip this bill. That was written by Netanyahu, and we have proof of that too. So listen to this shit. It gets voted down. The only people that are for this removal is Khanna himself and a Democrat. This is the biggest blunder. Well, it's not even a blunder. It's an obviously planned thing because we obviously don't have 98% of these people are that fucking dumb. They're all parodying talking points that aren't true. And they all know what the repercussions of this are. I don't know if they're blackmailed, bought, whatever. I don't even care anymore. They're treasonous. Yeah, they're swine. It's terrible. So listen to this.
It's my amendment. All right, we'll now consider log number 6827 by Mr. Khanna of California. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Will clerk distribute the amendment without objection? Reading the amendment is dispensed with. The chair recognizes the gentleman for the purpose of explaining his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the American people are tired of the arrogance and insolence of Prime Minister Netanyahu telling America what we should do. The entire country of Israel has a GDP that is less than a single town in my district. Yet somehow Netanyahu thinks he could tell the American people what we should do. The person who's most upset with him right now is President Donald Trump. And everyone in America, whether you're a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat, says that we need to tell Netanyahu that America calls the shots, not the Prime Minister of any other country. They want less cooperation and blank checks to Israel, not more. Only the United States Congress would dream up at this moment, let's actually do more for Israel, not less. And that's what Section 2024 does. It's a pretty simple thing. Should we do more for Israel than we already do, or should we do less? If you think we should do more for Israel, you should be against my amendment. If you think we should do less for Israel at the time that he's arrogantly telling Donald Trump what to do, then you should be for my amendment. Now, let me just be clear. Mr. Netanyahu actually wrote to a member of Congress to put this Section 224 into the bill. He said.
Now, you're going to hear a bunch of opposition to him saying this. There are a bunch of people saying, I didn't see anything about any letter from Netanyahu. I'm going to put it right up here on the screen right now. So check us out. Read this. This is from Netanyahu to Representative Stoltzman, who put this resolution forward. It says, and I quote, Dear Congressman Stoltzman, I was glad to receive your proposed congressional resolution endorsed my plan to shift the framework from U.S.-Israel defense cooperation from aid to partnership. My plan. As I said in our meeting in Jerusalem on May 27th, it goes on. Okay? So, anyone saying after this that he had nothing to do with it and it's just a bill that they're surprised. The Daily Wire came out lying to everyone. So did Stoltzman, saying, we didn't expect him to support this bill at all. He fucking wrote it. It says right there. Thank you for supporting my thing. Okay, so here we go. Back to the video. You're going to hear them all lying through their teeth, and then I'll show you the Daily Wire propaganda and Stoltzman's propaganda. And yeah, they're all a bunch of bought off fucking traitors. So here we go.
Says, I know that aid is unpopular in America. I know that even Republicans don't want aid. So here's what you got to do. Quote, let's create a new framework. This is Netanyahu telling us what we should do. A new framework of joint defense cooperation, co-development, co-production, and mutual investment in areas including advanced missile defense, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and next-generation military platforms. Why? Because he doesn't want Congress to vote on the aid. He just wants it fused in the bill. Last I checked, Netanyahu doesn't have a seat on this committee, Mr. Chairman. We need to reject an amendment which his language is coming directly from the Israeli Prime Minister. And we ought to have any aid have a vote of the American people. I am for Team America. I am for the interests of this country. And I believe that when Donald Trump ran, he ran America first. That includes American interests against any foreign country. We should have American sovereignty and make it clear that we strike 224. If we want to give aid to Israel, if we want to sell them weapons, that should be a vote for the entire Congress.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes himself. Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East, and our cooperative programs enhance U.S. national security by giving our warfighters access to cutting-edge technologies. Section 224 doesn't create any new programs within the Department of Defense. It simply designates a single senior office official to coordinate existing initiatives.
Now, this is where it gets bullshitty. Okay, if this wasn't already enough bullshit with Netanyahu putting in a bill that we're all just supposed to fucking go along with, and they got a 99% vote from a foreign leader who's currently has warrants all over the entire world for war crimes and genocide. He's got warrants from the International Criminal Court. He's facing corruption charges in his own country, which all put a stop as soon as October 7th happened. It put emergency powers on him, a mandate to lead, and now they fucking dropped the whole thing, and it's on pause. So now he's floating. So this is the guy who we're letting put in resolutions merging our militaries together, and our congressmen are just like, they're our greatest ally over there. They're doing good. And also, not to mention the list of false flags. So our greatest ally, let's take a look at this. So this is the great ally of Israel. How amazing they are to the American people. Jonathan Pollard, 1967, Jonathan Pollard said that they used nuclear threats to coerce the United States to do what they want, and they have been doing that ever since. Not okay. Then you have the, so the USS Liberty, it killed 34 people, injuring 171, claimed it was an accident, but evidence suggests a deliberate attack to blame Egypt and draw the U.S. into war. Sounds familiar, huh? Then we have the Lavon affair, proven Israeli false flag in Egypt, where Israeli agents bombed British and American targets to frame Arabs and pressure Western powers not to withdraw troops from the Suez Canal. Sound familiar? Jonathan Pollard case in 1985, proven Israeli espionage, where naval intelligence officer Jonathan Pollard stole massive amounts of classified U.S. documents for Israel, severely damaging the U.S. intelligence operations worldwide. He also sold them to China and Russia. This guy's a cocksucker. 9/11, alleged Mossad involvement. Not alleged. It's pretty fucking true. Just people don't want to accept it because they know we spent 20 years in a fucking war going after the terrorists and weapons of mass destruction when the fucking terrorists were the Israelis. They're the ones who started it. And we have plenty of evidence of that. One being the 99, the clean break document that was written by Netanyahu, and then what ended up being Bush's panel of people who talked him into going and declaring war on Iraq. Those are the people who wrote the clean break document, which described taking out Iraq, taking out Saddam Hussein. It mentioned planes flying into towers and how that was a threat to America as a possibility could happen. Then lo and behold, 9/11 comes along and oh, that's weird. And then just right after that, Netanyahu's like in front of Congress giving his speech saying, we need to go after Iraq. They have weapons of mass destruction. They're going to kill us all. And they have bunk-ass Mossad operative shit. We got terrible intel. There was no weapons of mass destruction. We never found anything. It's a bunch of bullshit. So there's that. Suspected but unproven claims of Israel foreknowledge and direct involvement in the 9/11 attacks, including reports of Israeli art students spying on hijackers in the U.S. and 5 Israelis arrested after filming the World Trade Center collapse with apparent foreknowledge. And there was an app that went out. There was a warning that went out in Hebrew on this one app, warning people not to go to the Twin Towers. Weird. And then also the security force that was doing all the security at the airport where these hijackers came in, Israeli. And then also Jonathan Pollard claims he was raped by a bunch of U.S. naval interrogators when he was caught spying. He said they raped him for 6 weeks during interrogation. And he said every single one of those guys happened to be in the same room at the Pentagon when it was hit by a missile during 9/11. Not an airplane, it was hit by a missile. And while he was in jail, someone came in, told him the news that his rapists had been taken out, just coincidentally taken out in the 9/11 attacks, and they gave him the opportunity to call their wives and tell them the news. You're telling me that they weren't involved? Motherfucker. Yeah, right. So let's go back to some more false flags here. U.S.-backed 1953 Iranian coup. The CIA Mossad coup against Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh was primarily funded by Israel's British petroleum allies to secure oil interests, but also to serve as Israeli goals of eliminating a nationalist leader who opposed Zionism and could potentially ally with Arab states against Israel. Lovely. Then we got the 1967 war coercion, suspected manipulation by Israel leading up to the Six-Day War, including alleged false reports of Egyptian troop mobilizations designed to provoke an American green light for preemptive strikes against Arab states. Then we got the 1983 Beirut barracks bombing. While attributed to Hezbollah, some allege Mossad involvement for foreknowledge as a means to pressure the U.S. into deeper military intervention in Lebanon against Palestinian groups. And not to mention, Netanyahu is giving Hamas $35 million a month filtered through Qatar to fund their organization for the false flag. Then we got this. The Samson option. This is fucked up. 1970s, 1980s. Allegations that Israel threatened nuclear retaliation against European capitals if they did not provide financial aid, exploiting fears of instability in Europe if Israel were endangered. These people have been a pestilence and terrorists upon the land for years. Then we got AIPAC espionage scandal, 2005. Proven allegations that AIPAC lobbyists passed classified U.S.-Israel relations documents to Israel via Pentagon official Larry Franklin, highlighting deep Israeli penetration of U.S. policymaking circles. Duh. And then we got the NSA, Israel spying on the U.S. officials. Leaked documents suggested NSA shared raw intelligence data with Israel without removing sensitive information about U.S. citizens, enabling possible blackmail or coercion of American officials. That's what we're going through. Yeah, imagine that. That was Snowden. He put that out. Covert arms shipments through the U.S. 1980s. Suspected but partially proven covert Israeli shipments through third countries like South Africa or Latin America to bypass U.S. imposed arms embargoes on anti-Israel states. Okay. Mossad, use of U.S. passports for assassinations. Multiple cases where Mossad agents used forged or stolen U.S., British, and other passports in operations like the 2010 Dubai assassination, putting innocent citizens at risk and straining diplomatic relationships between those countries and their governments. These are not our allies at all. If you're saying they're our allies, you're parroting talking points or you're involved. The Iran-Contra affair, 1985 to 1987. It goes on. This keeps going. Trust me. I'm fucking reading them all, too. They're coming out there. Partially proven allegations that Israel acted as a conduit for secret arms sales to Iran with CIA approval. The Israelis were selling weapons to the Iranians. Both funding Nicaraguan Contras and gaining leverage over Iran through arms deals while undermining official U.S.-Iran embargo policies. Talk about stirring the fucking pot. Then we got pressuring U.S. support for Gaza wars, repeated suspected psychological operations by Israel during Gaza conflicts, such as staging photos or manipulating casualties numbers to sway the international opinion and justify disproportionate force under humanitarian pretext, coercing continued U.S. diplomatic cover despite mounting civilian casualties. Remember McDonald's having those fucking Israel wrappers on there? These sick fucks. Like, yeah, poor guys. American Enterprise Institution neoconservative lobbying. Proven influence by neoconservative think tanks heavily funded by pro-Israel donors to steer U.S. foreign policy towards aggressive interventions in the Middle East that serve Israeli strategic interests more than American ones. They don't serve us at all. The only reason we're over there is because of them. We need to get the fuck out. It's ridiculous. How many billions and trillions of dollars the Iraq war cost us, Iraq and Afghanistan. Holy fuck. And every parent and family member of every fucking soldier that died over there should be furious. The cases illustrate a pattern where Israel has repeatedly manipulated events, spied on its closest ally, and leveraged coercive tactics up to including violence to achieve strategic objectives. Oh, the Boston City Marathon? False flag. Yeah. Takeover of TPUSA, Charlie Kirk. So you got some of the biggest events, the biggest things that ever happened to the United States, blamed on the Muslims by Israel. And we are calling them our greatest ally, and they're trying to fuse our fucking military with them. While they're currently committing genocide in 2 different countries, third's coming up. They're going at it with Syria. They're bombing the shit out of Lebanon. They're just about done with Gaza, and they turned that into a real estate project. Jared Kushner is basically selling it off to the highest bidder, and they're going to fill it up with a bunch of rich fucks and then employ the Palestinians who come back into it as slaves. These are the people. This is what we're doing. This is what we're funding. This is what all these people are pro. They're like, hey, Israel's our greatest ally. We share Western values. We don't share any values with these people. Do you share values? In the Western world, we have apartheid states and genocide and treating people like animals and killing kids and women. That's not our fucking shared values. And they don't have a democracy, and neither do we. I mean, I guess we do have that in common because they're now making laws that, stifle our freedom of speech and don't allow any kind of dissent or political adversaries or anything. They bought our Congress. Those aren't shared values. I don't know what shared values they're actually talking about. Judeo-Christian values? That's not a real thing either. That's a bunch of propaganda, which that's another thing they're lobbying. They've got the Christian evangelicals completely brainwashed. They've been altering fucking Bibles, saying that, you have a duty to serve Israel. You can't find that in the fucking Bible. It's not talking about that at all. They've manipulated that entire thing. And now they have pastors that are being paid off by Israeli lobbies to brainwash their followers and to support this thing. If you're a Christian, you support Israel. You have to do that. No, the fuck you don't. These people are crazy and they're genocidal maniacs. And you're going to use your tax dollars and your kids to fight their wars until we're all fucking dead. This country is sucked dry until there's nothing left of it, and you're all complicit in it. But at the same time, even if we weren't, it wouldn't matter anyway, because look what happened to Thomas Massey. We don't have a vote in this country. It just doesn't happen anymore. It's bought, paid, it's all planned out. The only thing you can do, let me tell you what. Here are some plans of action, and people can get behind this too. Don't pay your fucking mortgage. Don't pay your taxes. You can miss a year on taxes. You can miss a month of your mortgage. The repercussions of that, if enough people do it, won't result in maybe you'll get a late fee. That's it. Taxes, you'll be fine. You have to miss quite a bit of taxes to get even on the radar. But if 1 million of us skip our mortgage payments, if 1 million of us, even if 500,000 of us didn't fucking pay taxes one year, they get some attention. But you have to have a goal. You have to have a demand. You can't just go in there and just skip shit and just whatever. It has to be organized. It has to be a plan. But that's your only power is going to work. If you're in any kind of industry that's a service industry that has a job that's relied upon, that will, like credit card companies, that's another thing. Don't pay your credit card bill. Fuck them. Yeah, because that goes right to the fucking White House. They report on that shit immediately. So if you get enough people not paying their credit cards, mortgage, taxes, any of them, you name it, it's got to be organized and there's got to be a demand. Things will start to turn because that's what they're using it for right now. The only thing we're good for are tax dollars and continuing the market. Okay, if you work in any kind of field that is remotely even touched by the military-industrial complex, organize a fucking strike. Don't go to work. And you don't even have to call it a strike because that'll, there's laws against that. Just everyone calling sick on a certain day. Not going to go. Now, if you imagine if dock workers, weapons manufacturers, factory workers, truckers, pilots, anything like that, anything, nurses, not saying I want people to go sick, but anything that will show up on the radar. I mean, yeah, if you don't show up to your McDonald's jobs, what do you fucking do? It's got to be a real job that matters. If you're an attorney, if you're a judge, if you're a bus driver, if you're a school teacher, if if you're anything like that, any kind of service industry, if you're in logistics or if you're managing this and that, any kind of job like that, organize across the board. Don't go to work. Yeah, that's it. That's your play. That's what we got.